Hello students, today we are going to start our new chapter, that is metals and non-metals. In this chapter we'll be studying about what is a metal, what is a non-metal, and how can you differentiate between both of them. In your day-to-day life you might have come across the terms such as carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, zinc. So these are the elements that are present around us. So all these elements are arranged in this periodic table. This table is known as periodic table. And if you count, you will find that in a periodic table, 118 elements are arranged. These are the elements that are naturally obtained or that are there in the nature. Now, according to its characteristics, the elements are differentiated into three groups mainly. One is metal, the other is metalloid, and the third one is a non-metal. So, as you can see here, the ones that are blue in color are called metals, and the ones that are green are the metalloids, and the yellow ones are non-metal. So what is a metal and a non-metal? We'll be discussing about that. So what is a metal? Metal, as you can see here, the steel, brass, aluminium, these are the metals that are around us. These metals are really hard and they are good conductors of heat and electricity, and they are lustrous. Can you see the shine in each of these metals? Yes, this is the specific property of a metal, that they have really shiny surface and they are normally denser elements. So we'll be studying about each of these properties in detail in this video. Now, what are non-metals? The non-metals are the elements which do not have the properties of metal. They are bad conductors or insulators of heat and cold, and they are normally brittle. Brittle means they can be broken down into smaller forms easily, while the metals are stronger. You cannot break it so easily. So these are the differences between a metal and a non-metal. Now there are some properties that differentiate between both of them. So we are going to study about each of that properties in detail. So what are the properties according to which the metals and the non-metals are classified? Yes, it's the luster. The luster means the shine. Sonorous. Sonorous means the object which produces sound. Ductile means the ability to get converted into small thin wires. Malleable means the ability of a substance of an element to convert into thin sheets. Density means the space that are occupied by the molecule in the given element, and conductors means it can allow electricity or heat to pass through it. So we'll be studying about each of these properties in detail. The first one is the luster. The luster means the shine. Metals are normally having a shiny structure or a shiny outer surface. So according to that, as you can see here, the metals have a very good shiny surface, and gallium is the one metal that do not have that shiny surface. And in non-metal, as you can see here, this is a sulfur. It do not has a luster or a shine, but there are exceptions, that is diamond. So the luster means the shine. So the metals are lustrous or they are having a shiny surface, and the non-metals are non-lustrous or they are not having any shiny surface. The next are conductors. Conductors mean substance that allow electricity or heat to pass through it. Metals are known to be a good conductors. Now, why does metal have this property? Yes, this is when you observe the metals closely, this is how the molecules in the metals are arranged. Can you see the red spot over here? Yes, these red spots are the electrons. So the metals have free electrons which help it to conduct electricity. So due to this, metals are a good conductors of heat and electricity. You might have studied in your electricity chapter that how is an electricity produced? Yes, electricity is produced by the flow of electrons. So when these electrons flow, the electricity is being passed through the system. So that's why metals that are having free electrons are the good conductors of electricity. Now, non-metals are insulators because they do not have free electrons. So as they do not have those free electrons, they do not allow the electricity to pass through it. There is an exemption, that is graphite. Other than that, non-metals do not allow electricity to pass through it. So they are known as insulators. The next is the density. As you can see here, the metals are normally found in solid state. So when density means how much area is taken by the molecule. So as you can see here, in the solid, more area in a given area, more molecules are there. So when in the given area more molecules are there, it is considered to be denser. And the liquid is less denser than solid, as in a small area only few molecules are there, so it is less denser, and the gas is least denser, as in a small molecule area very few particles of gas are there. So according to this, solids are more denser, the gaseous or the liquid state are less as compared to solid, and the gaseous have least density. So metals are normally in solid state. So from that we can say that metals are denser in nature, while a non-metal is normally found in liquid or gas state. So we can say that a non-metal is less denser than a metal. The next property is sonorous. Sonorous means the ability of a given element to produce sound when it is hit by something. So you might have observed this in your school. When the metal plate is hit by the hammer, you hear the sound, right? So the metal plate is made up of some or the other metal. So all the metals have the ability of producing sound. So the metals are considered sonorous. But whereas the non-metal cannot produce sound when they are hit, so they are non-sonorous. The next property is ductile or ductility. Ductility means a property by which a metal can be stretched into wire. So you might have seen these wires at your home, right? Yes, these are the wires from which all your electrical connections are there. These wires are made up of copper wires. The copper is a metal which is converted into thin copper wires. So we can say from this that the metal have the ability to get converted into thin wires, while the non-metals cannot get converted into thin wires. So they are not ductile. The next property is malleability or malleable. A material can be said malleable when it can be converted into thin sheet by hammering or rolling. So these are some of the metal sheets. What do you observe here? Yes, they are thin sheets. So we can say a metal are malleable. Metals are malleable, means they can be converted into thin sheet, while a non-metal is not malleable as they cannot be converted into sheets. So now here are some of the differences of metals and non-metals. What are metals? How do they appear? The metals are normally lustrous. They have a shiny texture, while the non-metals are dull. The metals are normally hard. The non-metals are soft. There is an exemption for this. Exemption is the mercury in the metal is not hard, and the non-metals are normally soft, and the exemption is diamond. Diamond is not soft, it is the hardest non-metal. Malleability, yes, the metals can be beaten into thin sheets, non-metals cannot be. Ductility, metals can be drawn into wires, non-metals cannot be drawn. Heat conductivity, metals are good conductors of heat, non-metals are poor conductors of heat. Conduction of electricity, metals are a good conductor and a non-metal is an insulator or it's a poor conductor. So these are some of the differences of metals and non-metals according to its properties. I hope you all understood. Thank you and have a nice day.